You can hit people with 100 statistics, beautifully designed charts, and bullet points. But here's the reality. Facts don't change minds. If your audience doesn't feel it, they won't buy it. Welcome to Speak Like It Matters. My name is Csilla Muscan, your go-to public speaking strategist. And on this channel, we love to dive deep with the art and science of dynamic communication. I can promise you, if you stick around for even just a few minutes, you will walk away with something valuable that will help you ditch sounding generic and become more impactful with your words. Now, why does this matter? Well, because we know that communication is a big part of our everyday life. And the better we are at using it, the more effective and impactful we become with it. And so that's what we love studying here. Before we dive in, let me tell you about the Speaker Accelerator. If you're an established leader, and you not only want to up-level your speaking skills, but you want to become that go-to trusted voice in your industry, then the Speaker Accelerator is definitely the place you should check out. Inside the program, we not only figure out what your message should be, what your core message is, the thought leadership message you want to be known for, but also how to create a keynote from A to Z around it, how to present your message more effectively on a stage, whether that's a physical stage in a physical room or behind a camera in a Zoom room. And also not only that, but figuring out what are the stages that you should be on. What are the stages that get you in front of the right audiences? All of that and so much more you can find inside the Speaker Accelerator. You can check out all the information at speaklikeitmatters.com/accelerator, or you can just simply click the link below this video. Okay, so let's get back to our topic today. Reasons why people are really not buying into your idea. Well, the number one reason, which is a myth, is that if they knew better, they would do better. A lot of leaders believe that if they've just given a little bit more information, a little bit more statistics, a little bit more research to their audience, that would help them to change, to transform. And if there's anything we've learned in this day and age, is that information alone is not enough to push us to change. Information is very readily and in abundance available, right? With the tools like AI and ChatGPT, everything, every little piece of information is at our fingertips, available to us 24/7. But we know that information alone doesn't help us change, because in so many areas of our lives, we know better, but we don't do better. We know what we're supposed to be doing in order to get a specific result, and yet we're not doing it. We know what decision would help us get to a certain outcome, but we don't necessarily make that decision. So if information alone is not enough, then what makes an audience really lean in and actually take action on what you're telling them? It's a feeling, it's emotions. I was blown away to find out from the University of Harvard. They did a research that 95% of our purchasing decision is based on subconscious decision, meaning we don't even think about it, but it is driven by an emotion, a feeling. And I know we don't like to hear that, because we think to ourselves that we are such rational human beings. We base our decisions on logic. And while some of the time is true, the reality is that so many of our decisions are driven by emotions. And so if you are giving a message, a keynote, and your message is filled with statistics, but nothing that will trigger some sort of an emotional response from your audience, it's not going to stick with them. And also it won't push them to make a decision that will actually help them transform their lives. So that's the number one reason. You are not evoking an emotion in your audience when you are sharing your message. And the second reason is that data in and of itself is just a number, nothing else. When we don't pair it with a story, because that's how our brains are wired, right? Our brains are wired to make sense of the world through stories. And so when you're just throwing numbers at people, it doesn't stick. Also, many times it doesn't make sense. So if you want to really sell your ideas, you got to pair your numbers, your data, your statistics with stories that help make your audience make sense of what you're offering to them. And finally, the third reason why people are not paying any attention to your words is because facts convince, emotions move, but it is really identity that converts. So what does that mean? It means that when you are on stage sharing your message, unless your audience can look at you and say, that's me, or that's who I want to be, right? If it's not attached to an identity of value or an aspirational identity, meaning that's someone I want to become, then you're going to lose them. The more you can attach your words, your data, your statistic, your stories to an identity they want to embody or who they think they are or the values they hold, the more likely that you're going to lose them unless you attach all of these to stories and powerful emotions that evokes some sort of a change and transformation in them. Okay, friends, so here is your challenge for the week. Take a fact or a statistic or data that you usually share in your message and think of it in these terms. How can I evoke some sort of an emotion when I share these statistics? How can I attach a story to it? And how can I showcase their identity or aspirational identity as I'm sharing this data and statistic and research, as I'm attaching a story to this research? Try that out and let me know how it goes. You can leave a comment below, or you can also send me an email at speaklikeitmatters@gmail.com. Here's your reminder for the week. Your voice, story, and message are needed. So speak like it matters. Why? Well, because in a sea of shallow sameness, it will set you apart like no other. Okay, friend, I'll talk to you next time.